so I'll be facing this side. Okay, good morning. All right. Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Deepak Arora. I am a realtor working out of Keller Williams Santa Clara Valley office. I still technically am in my first year as a realtor. I joined April of last year. You might have seen me often if you guys come to Santa Clara Valley office, or you might also have seen me in Silicon City or Cupertino attending classes here and there. Little bit about my background. I joined, everyone can hear me clearly, right? The volume sound level is all fine. Do you think it's too low or is it okay? Okay, I got a heart from Abigail, so it looks like it's good. So yeah, a little bit about my background. I came to Bay Area in 2006, so I have been here about 17 years. And that was after completing my master's in computer science from State University, New York, Buffalo. So you can imagine how much I appreciate living in Bay Area, right? Since I was a computer science graduate, I started working as a software engineer. And then how I came into real estate, it's not something that happened overnight, but it happened over a period of a few years. And if you have heard me talking before, you might know the story already, but I'll just share once again. So I think around 2012, after I bought my first primary home, in the next few years, I saw the kind of value in the appreciation when it comes to the Bay Area real estate, and also the tax benefits that come along with home ownership. So 3-4 years down the line, that kind of opened my eyes, and I really wanted to get more active in the field of real estate. And then the first thing that comes to your mind when you talk about working actively in real estate is being a realtor. But I was on work visa, so I could not work legally. I could not do any other job apart from my employer that sponsored my work visa. So I stayed as a software engineer, but I could start investing in real estate because investing in real estate is considered passive income, just like investing in stocks, bonds, and stuff. So then I started looking into the ways of real estate investment, and then started doing some investments just outside the Bay Area, still at driving distance. And that got me a lot more exposure to the field, talking to various realtors, talking to rehabbers, contractors, wholesalers, and all that stuff. And then but every year after year, as I did more deals and talked to more people, my love for real estate just kept growing more and more. So, and then I was just waiting to get my green card. And finally, after a short wait of 12 years, I got my green card in 2021, November, and gave all the tests in a haste and got my license in February. Went to talk to the team leader at Keller Williams Santa Clara Valley in March, and then started in April. So that's how it all started. Today's topic is define your value, something I can relate to very much. So let's go talk about define your value. And just so, by the way, it's a problem with me whenever I'm talking about a certain topic. There's such a chain of thoughts that comes through my brain, and I just keep talking, and sometimes forget to take feedback. If you have any questions, if you want to elaborate on something, if you want to share your experiences, feel free to interrupt at any time. I do not want to make it a class, but more like an interactive discussion where we all learn from each other. And most of you might, or at least half of you might be more experienced than me, and you would have a lot more to share. So feel free to chip in anytime you guys like. So today we'll talk, when you say define your value, you have to create what is called as a value proposition. Anybody has any idea what a value proposition means? Does anybody already have a value proposition? Okay. No problem. In simplistic terms, to me, the value proposition means something where you describe the kind of services you provide providing, the quality of service you're providing, and how they uniquely identify you, and what value you are bringing to your clientele through providing those services. And there could be various different definitions. This is just something that came to my mind right now. And when you have that with the value proposition, you relate to what matters most to your buyers and sellers. Now, we are all realtors and we have all kinds of buyers and sellers out there in the market. But as a professional in this field, you might be focusing on a certain set of buyers. Like somebody might be focusing on first-time home buyers, somebody might be focusing on buyers who are upsizing, somebody might be focusing on buyers who are downsizing. Similarly, sellers, somebody might be focusing on the sellers who are selling so that they could upsize. Somebody might be focusing on sellers who are moving out of the area so they could help them sell here and buy in another area through a referral to another KW agent. Somebody could be focusing on partition sales and stuff like that. So once you identify your set of buyers and sellers, and you know the value proposition, you know the importance of value proposition, that together helps you define your value proposition. So let's go over these one by one and let's see what we got. So as I already told you, value proposition is something that defines your services. It also helps you identify your clients and also kind of tells your clients what value you're bringing by providing those services and how it uniquely identifies you or sets you apart from the other service providers in the area. Your value proposition is a unique, memorable, and persuasive statement that expresses the true value of working with you, addresses the specific and special needs of buyers and sellers in your market, states what you will do for your clients to earn your commission, and holds you accountable to the high standards. Anybody wants to share anything on any of these points?
I can make a comment.
Yes.
Over here in the peanut gallery. I would just say that what I learned, I've had my license since 2017, is that value proposition, it evolves. You learn through experience. It's okay to say this is the demographic of buyers and sellers I'm going to target, but you learn just through the experience of what is really kind of the best fit. It's an evolution of your value proposition. Sometimes it's discovery. You realize you have a strength you didn't realize that you had until you're in it, right? So that was just really my only comment, that it evolves over time.
Your name, sir?
Michaela.
So what Michaela said, and I can totally relate to it, your value proposition is evolving and it evolves as you learn more about your field, as you learn more about the business, as you learn more about the clientele in your area. And that's the same case with me. When I started, I had a different value proposition, but over time, the kind of clients I'm targeting, or the kind of clients who are naturally coming to me, my value proposition is evolving as well. One thing I really like here is it states what you will do for your clients to earn commission. Now, you all might have come across this, and I come across this a lot because Indian clients are known to ask for commission credits. I'm an Indian, so I can say that, right, without getting into trouble, hopefully. But I would say, so we have a listing agreement and we have a buyer-broker agreement. If you're not using buyer-broker agreement for your buyer clients, I would highly encourage to use that. And then either with the listing agreement or the buyer-broker agreement, I would say attach another page in simple English where you list bullet points of your value proposition or the kind of service that you're providing your clients. That is going to help you uniquely identify yourself in the area and what value you're bringing that other service providers in the area might not, and that could also help you defend your commission percentage. At the same time, you should also make sure whatever you're committing to, you follow up on those points with your actions. So if you do that, that really sets you apart from the other service providers, and then basically sets a good value proposition for you. Top agents can easily explain what services they will provide to anyone who hires them. Anybody wants to comment on this? Okay, I'll make a comment. Something that it did not mention before, but some of you might already know. I'm also a professional dancer in the Bay Area. I've been doing professional dancing pretty much around for the same amount of time I have been doing software engineering, almost 15 years now. As I also had a dance school for a few years, and so I could say I was a service provider in the Bay Area. And then there was a lot of times people would come to me, and then I'll give them a price code for whatever event they would hire me, and then they would ask me, they would negotiate with me. So I'll tell them all the services that I'm going to provide, and then I just tell them one statement. If you can find that quality of entertainment for a lower price, come to me and I'll drop my price. And nobody ever came to me saying that. So if you are very confident of the value that you're bringing to your clients and you follow up with few actions, you will set yourself apart no matter what. And the same thing I'm trying to do here with real estate. I'm telling them when I meet them for the initial consultation what the value I'm going to bring to them. And if they could find somebody else who's going to do this, and this for a lesser amount of money, they feel free to look around. Okay, so benefits of value proposition. Help your clients understand your value and expertise, protects your commission, and builds strong and trusting relationships. Again, feel free if somebody wants to chip in with their experience or any of these points or anything we have covered so far. We've been talking about the benefits of value proposition. I just gave you an example of how you can protect your commission or the money that you earn by being confident and then following up with the actions on the value proposition that you present to your clients. It's even more important when you're talking to absolute strangers. Like when we all are new, and I'm still new, we start mostly in our inner circle, in our sphere of influence. But as you do 3-4 deals, you start going into your outer circle to friends of friends or friends of friends of friends. But you might not know them to begin with. So how do you create that like and that trust in the first meeting or the first consultation itself? I think that's where the value proposition comes in really handy. If you have a clearly defined value proposition, which you present to them and explain to the kind of services that you would provide them, that really helps in establishing trust upfront. Okay, some value proposition examples. Airbnb. Airbnb exists to create a world where anyone can belong anywhere, providing healthy travel that is local, authentic, diverse, inclusive, and sustainable. Walmart, everyday low prices for a broad range of goods that are always in stock in convenient geographic locations. Anybody wants to comment on the value proposition examples that we see here, or anything that you like from any other service providers or any other business that you think is worth sharing? Okay, I'll share something here. So when I look at these value propositions, it clearly tells me what they're trying to focus on. Like Walmart, everyday low prices. I see it in bold caps right up front. Airbnb, a world where anyone can belong anywhere. Those are like powerful words in those value propositions. There are many other service providers in the areas in which these companies exist. For example, let's say Walmart. you compare it to Safeway. Do you think Safeway can pick Walmart's value proposition as is and use it for their business? Anyone? Okay, we have a quiet group today. So I don't think Safeway can pick Walmart's value prop as is and they can use it because they're trying to present themselves or project themselves differently. Well, anybody knows what Walmart's tagline is? No. What's Safeway's tagline is?
I don't know, but like I always like Walmart better, a lot better. Like
Yeah.
cheaper.
Okay,
I just have a lot of stuff
very
there.
good. So you said Walmart is a lot better and a lot cheaper. Why do you think Walmart is a lot better? Just because it's a lot cheaper?
And also I find a lot of things that I need in Walmart at the same time.
A broad range of goods. And that's clearly mentioned there in their value prop. So everyday low prices and broad range of goods. And Sarah, you just hit the nail on the head. Exactly. They're cheaper and you find a lot more products. So Walmart's tagline is save money, live better. Something like that, right? If you guys remember, I don't know if you have seen. And Safeway's tagline is ingredients for life. So Safeway is saying, in a way, Safeway is saying, we provide you all these things that you would need to function in your daily life, but may not be at the lowest prices, right? But at Walmart is actually focusing on a broad range of goods and everyday low prices. So value proposition plays a very important role in establishing a reputation upfront. But if you don't follow it up with actions or the kind of business model you have, then it's actually of no use. So I think these value proposition examples are great. This can really help you when you're thinking of your value proposition. How can you uniquely identify yourself as a service provider in your area? And how can you bring value to your clients? Okay, I was just looking at the watch. I think we're doing good on time. So how do you connect to your value with KW and your market center value? We know we're part of this incredible worldwide KW network, and it brings a lot of value to us. And so does our market center. How can we use the value that KW brings to connect it to the value that we are bringing and present it to the client? How together we are not just we're not just a solo agent working all by ourselves, but we are backed by our market center. That in turn is backed by the incredible KW network. And together, this is the value we are bringing to you. And then fiduciary, we call it the realtor's F word. We have this fiduciary duty to our clients that anything they share with us, their personal, professional, financial information will stay safe with us. So they can totally they should feel free to open up with us and tell and share all their exact requirements, because the better we understand their requirements, the better value we can provide to them. And then you also want to tell them why you are the market expert in that particular area. What do you know about those neighborhoods? What do you know about the markets? What do you know about the data? What do you know about the historical data? What do you know about the current markets? Do you have any projections for the near future? And putting all this together helps you bring a more comprehensive value proposition to your clients. Okay, so just like I said, when talking about your value proposition, you can tell your clients that you have access to the collective knowledge and experience of, I'm sorry, I have to minimize the participant window so I can see what's on the screen. You have access to the collective knowledge and experience of nearly 200,000 agents worldwide. As a fiduciary, not only that any information that they share with you is safe, you can also point them to reputable resources for service providers such as handymen, window washers, tax associates, financial advisors, rehabbers, contractors, etc., etc. And market expert, you can help them price their home to sell because you are very tuned to the market of moment, or you can help them find their dream home because you have a good handle on certain neighborhoods and the price points, and you can give them best shot when it comes to multiple counter offers. Any ahas so far? Anyone? So I consider myself so new. I'll be like ecstatic if I can get one aha by the end of the class today. So let's continue. Okay, what matters to the buyers and the sellers? Let's take a look. So for buyers, their goal is to find just the right home at the best price in the right time with the least number of problems. And for the sellers, their goal is to net the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time with the least number of problems. What do you think here is something that's common for both the buyers and the sellers? Come on, guys, I want to make it a little interactive. It's more fun that way. There's no right or wrong answers here. We're just interacting.
I think they both want the best price.
Yes, so the buyer wants the lowest and the seller wants the highest. Yes, that's right. Anything else?
And they want the least number of problems.
Exactly. They want the least number of problems. This is the common statement on both sides. And any idea, how do you make sure that either your buyer or the seller encounters least number of problems through the process? Like everything else is pretty self-explanatory. I think as realtors, we all know it very well. I don't need to go in detail about that. But how can we make sure we have the least number of problems, whether we are helping a buyer client or a seller client?
I can add.
Sure.
I would say it's setting the expectations of what the process looks like. There's no guarantee that it will be smooth. Just because it's bumpy doesn't mean there's a problem, right? There's a lot of moving parts, and it really comes down to setting expectations as to here are the steps, here's what is coming up, and making sure that you're just communicating, with all the parties. I think a lot of agents just sit back, say we're in escrow, let escrow do the work, but you have to be involved. And but if you can set their expectations ahead of time, I think that helps. And then sometimes you have to go back and reset
right
expectations, right?
Yep.
But I find that is, if you get all that up front in the beginning, it really helps because you can remind them what you talked about.
Right, absolutely. That's awesome. Anybody else would like to share anything? That's it. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. There are too many people here. I can't remember. Michaela. So Michaela said it's important to set the expectations up front, and then you have to constantly communicate and then tell them the different parties that are involved in the process, educate them, but at the same time things happen, so you go back and reset them. So two words here that I would say is communicate and anticipate. So you communicate the expectations up front. You communicate not just with your clients, the buyer or the seller, but you constantly communicate with all the parties involved. Like, folks, I cannot stress on the importance of communication in real estate more. It is so important. Like sometimes we take things for granted, but no, I would rather over communicate than under communicate. One thing to make sure when you are negotiating with the other party, you don't want to communicate too much that you annoy them and they don't want to do business with you anymore, but over communicate in a good way that you're keeping all the parties up to date with all the latest, progress in the transaction. And then anticipate. If you think something is not going according to the plan, anticipate and let your clients know ahead of time, this is what we think we might have to do going forward just because this happened. If you didn't have inspection contingencies and then you put the inspection contingency and you do find something in the inspections, doesn't mean you just walk out of the deal. There are other options. You can ask the seller for the credit. You can ask the seller to get it repaired, or there are other ways to negotiate on that as well. So you always, but the key is to constantly communicate, be on top of your communication with all the parties and anticipate so you can avoid problems. Does that make sense? I think it does. So now we focus on the buyer value prop, the top 10 service areas of the buyer value proposition: needs analysis, pre-qualification or pre-approval, neighborhood information, hope search, make an offer, negotiating to buy, vendor coordination, pre-close preparation, closing, and post-closing. Top 10 service areas for the seller value proposition: needs analysis, pricing strategy, property preparation, marketing strategy, receive an offer, negotiating to sell, pre-close preparation, closing, and post-closing. Again, do you see any common points in both the slides?
Needs analysis.
And?
That's just the one I focused on.
Okay. Yes, they both need analysis. Buyers need to know what's the current market. Buyers need to tell you what their requirements are, but then they need analysis from you as to what they can afford in the current market, and then what neighborhoods, and then go from there. And then also closing and post-closing. Once you get into a transaction, it is not guaranteed it'll close. But as I said, if you communicate and anticipate, you get all the parties on the same page. You give yourself best chance to close that deal. And then post-closing, you don't just what we call it, orphaned clients. You don't leave your clients orphaned, right? You take care of them. You should present yourself as somebody they can always reach out to for any real estate advice, even post-closing. I tell all my clients, like, this is not where our relationship ends. This is actually where our relationship starts, because now we already built that trust relationship. Feel free to reach out to me anytime, because by saying that, I'm not just leaving it at one deal. I'm also trying to approach their sphere of influence and their future needs, whether they are buying more or they're selling in future, they're looking for investment properties. You want to stay in touch with them. That's very important. Okay, what buyers want most from their agent? 52% say help find the right home to purchase. Obviously, right? Because they're buyers. 13% help buyer negotiate the terms of sale. Very important. 11% help with the price negotiations. It's interesting to see how they value more the negotiate the terms of sale than the price negotiations. But mostly people think the price is all that matters, but it's actually the right home. 52% say it's the right home. And then 13% say negotiate the terms of sale, and then 11% say price negotiations. Any idea what the remaining 24% could be? Anyone? Again, feel free. There's no wrong answers, but there could be many.
Their service?
Their service?
Yeah.
They rapport, like the relationship, like how well they feel like they like you. Right?
Yeah.
They want to work with someone they like.
Yeah.
Or that can relate to them,
Correct. I think all that you're saying is probably in the next slide, but we'll come back to this. But factors buyers value when choosing an agent. So I think that's exact. It fits in within that 44%. But what the buyers want most from their agent, like assuming they've already selected an agent, what do they want most from their agent? Sorry, as I'm talking, I'm feeling a little hot. So, okay. So I think when I look at my buyers, and as a new agent, I work with more buyers and sellers. I think they need help or they need advice in the lending. They also want some information on the numbers, how the mortgage breaks down into principal, interest, whether they have what kind of tax benefits they would have, what are the tax implications. Again, I'm not advising them on all this. I give them a very brief overview, and I tell them I'll connect them to a professional in that field if they're interested to know more. They would also like to know the neighborhood info, because they might only, when a buyer starts looking, typically they know like one neighborhood where they want to buy and they have an approximate price point in their mind, but they do not know what kind of loan products are out there. They might just, whatever they hear in the news, that's what they think would apply to them. But the news is mostly the nationwide news. It's not the Bay Area news. We have different kinds of products here, and because of our price points, we have different kind of interest rates as well, which could actually totally change their perspective once they are more educated on that. So my buyers, when I talk to them, they mostly need help with getting connected to a lender. They also need some help with getting to know more about the neighborhoods. They also need help understanding the contracts, because if somebody, especially if someone is a first-time home buyer, you want to go over the contract with them and do like a dry run, or I usually hop on, I don't go over the contract in the first initial consultation. It could get overwhelming. Initial consultation is just me asking questions and knowing as much about their requirements as possible. But then I usually hop on a Zoom call and go over the contract with them, try to explain what every field means and what are all the areas or what are all the points on which we can negotiate on. Because a lot of people, again, they think price is the only thing they can negotiate on, but there are so many other things in the contract. And then when you are dealing with the other party, you want to make it sound like a win-win. So you want to make sure their needs are taken care of, your needs are taken care of, and then you can negotiate on the wants. Now, the factors buyers value when choosing an agent. 20% say the agent should be honest and trustworthy. 19% say the agent's experience matters the most to them. 17% the reputation of an agent. And 40% other. So here we have, so the majority says other. Any idea what other
Could be.
could be? Yeah. Here Michaela said a couple of things where you said the reputation of the agent? Or
Just
how
well they either
Yeah.
like you,
Yeah.
or, I think buyers want that agent to be able to relate to them.
Yeah, I call it resonance. If you can resonate with the agent, or if the agent can resonate with the buyer, they'll most likely work together. So I think if that was a feed here, that will be more like at least 20% out of that 44, in my opinion. And it's interesting you bring it up. I have a friend, she's Chinese, and she referred her friend to me. Her friend is Indian, and she referred him to me to help out with their first-time home buying process. And I told her, you must know some other agents, or maybe some Chinese agents or some American agents who you're friends with. Why did you refer him to me? She said, every time I talk to him, it reminds me of you. Like, he talks so much like you. So I thought you would be the best person. And I actually helped them find a house within a month. So it does help. And I mean, when I met them, the initial consultation went so smooth. I was like, these buyers are going to be one of the easiest buyers ever. And actually, they ended up being one of the easiest buyers ever. And luckily, we also found a home very soon. There are more factors to that than the resonance. Also, the market was, we were looking in the month of December around the holidays time. So we got lucky. Thank you. Yeah. It was raining and cold, but we were out there.
But everyone else was staying home, right?
Yeah. So there were those factors, but just the fact that we got along very well together, I think it helped a long way. It just takes a lot of variables out of the equation to begin with. Anything else do you think comes in that 44%? So we are in Silicon Valley. This is where technology is born. I think if the client C agent is tech savvy, and also because more so if your clients are tech savvy, your clients work in high tech, they can relate to you, or they would appreciate that. They might value it. They might also, I also see a lot of times people, and again, I work with a lot of first-time home buyers, so I see this with the first-time home buyers. They do not know any agent personally. So if their friend or family has worked with an agent, they would just go and have at least a consultation with that agent. So I think that factor also comes in here in that 44%. If their friend or family has worked with that agent, they would work with that agent as well. And sometimes, and it's just how some people are, they're always looking for the best bang for the buck. They think in their minds, if they save on commission, they're getting the best bang on the buck for the buck, which might not be true because they might not, if they're getting a commission credit from someone, they might not be the best person to negotiate on their behalf. But such people would often also go for the dual agent. Like the agent who's listing, who has the listing, they would just make them their buyer's agent as well, and they want to do the business only with them. So they actually never work with an agent on an ongoing basis. They just go and approach the listing agent everywhere. So I think that's also a factor here. Okay, these are exactly the same slides. No problem. Let's focus on the sellers now. What sellers want most from their agent? So this is a very even split amongst various expectations. 21% say help price the home competitively. 20% help seller market home to potential buyers. 16% help sell the home within specific time frame. Another 16% say help seller find ways to fix up the home to sell it for more, and 27% others. Anybody likes to comment on any of these?
This might fall in the other category, but I find that some sellers, they need a plan, they need guidance, because they don't, some are more educated, or they think they're educated, right? Based on what they see on Zillow, et cetera.
Exactly.
But a lot of times I try to get in there before they're ready to sell, because then I can help them create a plan and guidance to get them to where they want to be.
Yeah.
So I think guidance for plan making might fall into that other category.
Again, guiding them through the entire process, make it as hassle-free as possible, or with the least number of problems, right? And then it's interesting that you brought up that they read it on Zillow, or this is what their home should be worth, and then you educate them, not this is how it is. Around the holiday time, one of my realtor friends posted this, and I loved the quote. They said, I met a buyer today, and I met a seller today, and he said, my house's estimate is this much. And that's okay. Some people also believe in Santa. So he said something like that, and I found it quite funny. But anyways, so I think there are other factors that matter here. Is sometimes sellers would also see, are you the agent who typically works with a lot of buyers? It could work for or against you. If you work with a lot of buyers, they might not see you as a very strong seller's agent. But in a down market, like we had last year, if you work with a lot of buyers, they might see it as an advantage, because you might help them find a buyer from within your pool of clients. So there's silver lining in every cloud. And then I think your negotiation skills matter a lot. You want to show them a track record of your negotiation skills on your previous deals. And again, help with the paperwork. There's a lot of paperwork. It could get overwhelming. There's a lot of legal jargon in all these forms. If you're able to explain it to them in simple English, that takes a lot of stress out of their minds. And then inspections, because there's so much that goes into setting the house up for listing. If you can help them with inspections, you can provide them tips with staging. You can tell them what else needs to be done that the buyers would really appreciate. They would like that. I think that all falls in that 27%. And then talking about the 16%, help seller find ways to fix up the home to sell it for more. I think a lot of realtors do this. They kind of go and classify the home as A, B, or C. Like A home is like in the best of conditions. B is it's a good home, but may not necessarily have the best of appliances, or in the top condition, and C is more like it's a little beat up home, so we might rather look for investors. So there are different strategies and there are different kinds of budgets that you can that you can share with your sellers, and depending on what their ask is, if they want the best bang for the buck, are they ready to invest something upfront so they get some returns on that? There are two advantages to fixing up the house and making it more attractive. They get better offers, and they get quicker offers. So better offers is also more money, and quicker offers is also more money, because the longer the house is sitting on the market, the seller is still paying the mortgage, or the seller still doesn't have the money that they could use otherwise elsewhere. And as we usually see, once the house stays on the market for 2 to 3 weeks, the sellers or the listing agent most likely ends up dropping the price. So the house is fixed up, looks great, it sells quicker, gives you more money back in your pocket. Factors seller consider when choosing an agent. So again, just like for the buyers, it's different. So what sellers want and the factors seller consider when eventually choosing an agent. 32% say the reputation of an agent. 19% agent is honest and trustworthy. 17% agent is a friend or family member, and then 44% say others. So what anybody has any thoughts or would like to share anything on this 32%, the reputation of an agent? Or how do you establish your reputation in a neighborhood or in front of a particular set of clients, prospective clients? Has everybody heard of that example where they promoted a hypothetical realtor in a neighborhood for like 2 years, where they just the person never existed, but they marketed, they kind of farmed that particular neighborhood. I think it's a Keller Williams study, or some brokerage did it, where for 2 years they just they created a realtor profile. That person never existed, but they actually farmed a neighborhood with his name. They would send postcards, they would send flyers, they would put hoardings and everything else. And then after 2 years, when they went to interview the residents of that neighborhood, almost a third said that person is the top agent in that neighborhood. And that person never even existed. So the reputation matters. If that agent was to go out in that neighborhood going looking for listings, that agent had almost a 33% chance of bagging that listing, as compared to all other agents who would want to work in that neighborhood. So your reputation matters. Again, any thoughts on what comes in the remaining 44%?
Commission falls on that 44%.
I totally agree. Commission falls in that 44%.
It's not the main driver of every seller.
Yeah. But yeah, it is a driver.
It is a driver. Yeah.
I think it's also an experience, the way how you talk, and experience, like when you go to see the home and how you guide the seller. That's in 44%.
Very good point, Sarah. So if you can nail what the sellers want the most, you could be the agent who the sellers would consider when choosing a listing agent for their home. So if you focus on what the sellers want, ask them questions, try to address their concerns. If you can address all of their concerns effectively, they would really consider you for listing that home. That's very important. Okay, let's move on. This is the same, but okay, one thing I noticed, this actually doesn't add up to 100%. This is more than 100%. So this 44%, I think it's more like 30% maybe. So 44, 32, that's 76. And then 17, 19, that's 36. So that's 112%. So you have to give your 112% to be chosen as a listing agent. That's what this slide
It's
really.
like 150.
150. Okay, let's start with 150. We'll end up with 112, I think. Okay, so the slides are the same, so I'm gonna skip it. Any ahas so far? Anything anybody would like to share?
I have a couple.
That-
I have
yeah.
a couple. And this actually
Yes.
goes back to the first pre-aha.
Uh-huh.
Didn't get it out fast enough.
That's
But one, I really like how you attach your value proposition to the buyer's agreement. I like that. I'm gonna do that. Also two, for whatever reason it jumped out, is just the post-closing transition, right? Where you said this is where our relationship starts. So I like that, just that general phrasing. I think that is important because it's a weird relationship, especially with buyers. It's like they're in your back pocket for months and months and months. You're calling, you're chatting, you're hanging out, you're laughing, you're crying, right? And all of a sudden you're like, great, we closed. It's like this weird scramble, and then it's crickets.
exactly.
Right. And so
Exactly.
there's almost like this weird, like, I prepared my buyer sometimes to just say, listen, there's this weird step down. You go through a little bit of withdrawal. I go through withdrawal, right? Spend so much time together. We're going to stay connected, but I'm not going to be calling you we're not going to be talking to each other every day.
You're not best friends anymore.
Right? It's normal. It's
Yeah.
a part of the process, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you'll hear from me in a
Yeah.
month or two just to check in, and,
Exactly.
just to let them know that that's, again, setting the expectation, right?
Yep.
Like you spend
Yep.
so much time, then.
Yep, I totally agree with what Michaela just said. It's funny. So a lot of Indian people are on WhatsApp, very active, and I like WhatsApp more than texting because the media sharing is very easy.
I agree.
So I usually create a WhatsApp group with the husband and wife, and then sometimes I'm typing too much, my fingers start hurting, so I start leaving voice messages. Especially when I sometimes like review the disclosures rather than sending a long email with bullet points. I sometimes leave voice message, and then one of my buyers, after he closed, like 2 weeks later, he says, Deepak, could you send a voice message? I'm really missing those.
Yeah.
It was funny. So I was like, yeah, I'll send you a voice message.
Yeah. And another thing with WhatsApp, which I think is just good, is it's much better for documentation. It's so easy. If you have to, hopefully you don't end up in a sticky situation in a transaction to go back and say, well, this is what you said. Well, no, this is what I said.
Right.
That kind of thing. So from a liability legal perspective, I really like it because it's so easy to just download the trans history. And I would even recommend that you do that once the transaction closed, just for backup. Not that you have to give that transaction to the buyer, but it's for your own
Right.
protection. You just file it away with everything else. Say, here's what our conversations were like.
Yep.
Here's what we discussed. Yes, I
Yeah.
did recommend you get an inspection. You didn't. Blah blah blah.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so it's a good tool. I really like it.
Yeah. And then things happen even after the transaction. Like I had one of the houses that I helped my buyers buy. We closed, and this was a complete remodel by a flipper, by an LLC, and they left some stuff, some garbage all around the perimeter of the house. They didn't take care of it. But when you close, you want to close on good terms so that they are there. I mean, as Michaela rightly pointed out, you're not talking every day, but you still want to be like that friendly realtor they feel free to reach out to. And they kept reaching out to me for various things, like the keys were not labeled. The combo box was still hanging at the door. There was debris all around the perimeter, and I helped them address things one by one. It took us almost 3 to 4 weeks, almost a month after that. But I kept pestering the listing agent, and it was not to say he wasn't cooperative, but he's a very busy agent. But he kept talking to the seller, that is an LLC, and they kept sending different people to take care of different things. But eventually, we took care of it. Mm-hmm. So we don't leave them orphan, right? So we take care of them. So that's something really important. And as I said, I never look at that deal as just that one deal. Whether it's a $500K condo or a $5 million home, I'm looking at not just those clients, but not just that deal, but also those clients' future needs and all of their sphere as well. Like I would really feel bad if they refer their best friends to some other realtor. So how can I be the realtor whom they would refer to, not just to all of their best friends and any other person for whom they want the best? Any other ahas? I already got 2 from Michaela, so I'm good, but the more the merrier. Okay. There's one slide I skipped here, is KW technology and your value proposition. I mean, we are a technology focused, technology-based company. I like one of the statements that's painted on one of the walls in Keller Williams Santa Clara Valley office is, in the words of Gary Keller, we are an education and training company that happens to be in real estate. And I totally love that. I'm a student for life. I always want to keep learning, because with learning, you grow. You learn either from books or from your own experience, but the best is you learn from others' experience. The more people you talk to, the more classes you attend, everyone comes with a different perspective. Everyone brings in their own experience and you learn. And all that helps you developing your value proposition. And with KW, with the amount of technology we have the best real estate CRM that's out there, Command. And I wasn't leveraging it now. I felt guilty. So I actually hired a VA just so we can focus on Command. Because everybody has the same number of hours in a day. You could only do so much. But you want to take advantage of all this. So if you have, especially when in the Bay Area, when you have these tech-savvy clients, you go and you present your value proposition, the value that you are bringing, the value that your market center brings, the value that incredible KW network brings, along with the technology that you have in place in-house, that would really help you impress them and get that client. Okay, so we have a lot more left. I thought we were about done. Okay, so about defining your value proposition. Okay, so now that we know the importance of value proposition and what your buyers and sellers want, how can you define your value proposition? So you identify your knowledge, attitudes, skills, and beliefs that make you qualified to be a great real estate agent. You transform the value you provide and the value of KW and your market center into benefits for your clients, and you build your value proposition statement. Anybody would like to comment on this? Or anybody wants to know more in detail what each point means? I think they're pretty self-explanatory, but still.
It's a good reminder, I think, to go back and always refresh.
Let's continue. So step one, identify your knowledge, attitudes, skills, and beliefs that make you qualified to be a great real estate agent. Now, a few months back, I read, I think they say almost, I think more than 50%, for more than 50% of the agents, being a realtor is not it's not the first career. It's always like the second or third career that they choose. So we all of us come with some sort of background. We have worked in a certain field, whether it's finance, accounting, engineering, HR, you could be a contractor, you could be, a lot of people I see, they were lender first and now they are a realtor. They used to work for an escrow company and now they're a realtor. So all that knowledge, all those skills that you acquired over the years come in handy. They could be part of your value proposition. They could help you connect to your ideal clients. Transform the value you provide and the value of your KW and your market center into benefits for your clients. And as I've said before, you're not just out there on your own. You're backed by your market center that in turn is backed by the incredible KW network. I'll show you guys something here. I'm pretty sure most of us don't know about it, because I also, as I was thinking about presenting today, I also inquired about it, and I was able to get, can you guys see my screen still?
Yes.
Okay. I'm trying to load a picture. Let me know if you could see it then. Can you see this picture which says wall of value?
No. Define your value.
No, it's I shared a picture called wall of value. I'm actually going to do a screen share.
No, I don't see it.
Okay. I'm going to stop share and reshare. Okay, I think I'm going to share the entire screen. Okay, let me share this. Okay, can you guys see it now?
Yes.
That's not what I meant. This is what I meant. Okay, that's somebody's personal computer, guys. Come on. Okay, so this is our wall of value at KW Santa Clara Valley. If you guys want, I can share it with you, but I got it from Stacy, our incredible NCA. And this touches upon 4 different areas: the growth, the productivity, the profitability, and the culture. Now, this is geared towards realtors who join a market center, but you can actually pick a lot of points from here and add them to your value proposition. Like, we have world-class education and training. We have a dedicated luxury division. We have incredible KW technology. We have KW SCV intranet, where we could reach out for help. We have a vendor program. We have a vetted list of vendors who could help you rehab the home, who could help you update the home in future, and all kinds of stuff. So when you talk about your value proposition, also talk about the value that your market center brings. I also want to share one more interesting thing here. Anybody has any idea how much business KW Cupertino or KW Santa Clara Valley or KW Silicon City did in the last year? Any rough estimate in terms of number of dollars or in terms of number of units? And 2022 was not the best year for real estate. We all know that. But still, let's make a guess. I'm not asking for 2021. I'm asking for 2022. Any rough ideas? Okay, never mind. I'll try to share something. Here's what I got from Stacy yesterday. Take a look. Okay, maybe they can't see, so I'll have to share again. Yeah. Okay. Can you guys see this? The email I got from Stacy? Sarah, can you see it?
Yes, that's a lot.
That's a lot. So that's a little over $1 billion with a B for Cupertino.
What's the unit number? I just can't see that.
Sorry, units, it's 654 units for KW Cupertino. For Santa Clara Valley office, just because we are newer and smaller, it's a little over $500 million with 391 closed units. This is not a bad idea to present to your prospective clients when you're having initial consultation. Tell them this is the market center you are backed by. This is the value you're bringing them. This combined experience of all these realtors is helping you help those clients. Like, once you pick something, you pick the best of everything to create that value proposition for yourself that is targeted towards your ideal client. If you can do all that, I'm pretty sure you're gonna have a good impression in the first meeting itself. Okay, I don't know a better way, so I'm gonna stop share and reshare the slides again. I think that's the one. Yeah. Okay, can you guys see the slides back again?
Yeah. So in step 2, right?
Mm-hmm. We are step 2, right? Yeah. So so just like what I was talking about, if you can transform the value you provide and the value that KW and your market center provides into benefits for your clients, that will really, really set you apart. For listing appointments, you could also get numbers from your market center, like what percentage of the listing price on an average, the agent from your market center end up getting. Like, is it 99%? Is it 101%? That could also help you give more information to your clients and impress them upfront. You understand what I mean by the percentage of the list price, right? Anyone?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I'm not able to switch the slides.
There you go.
Okay. I just had to click it. And then once you have all that information, you are ready to build your value proposition statement. Again, as Michaela said, and I totally believe in that, your value proposition is something that will evolve over time. Like when I started new as a realtor, I did not know what would be my ideal client avatar. But as I work more and more, I started naturally connecting with a certain set of clients. I connect very easily with first-time home buyers and first-time new investors, and those are the. And I'm very comfortable making like social media videos. I tend to naturally get those ideas when it comes to how I can help first-time home buyers, how can I help new investors, and I make those videos, I post them. My posts are also kind of not explicitly, but implicitly geared towards those clients. And those are the clients, those are the kind of prospective clients I'm getting. Those are the kind of people I'm getting in my funnel right now. So even though I don't have an explicit value proposition statement out there, it's all these things that I'm doing in the real estate field, kind of sending a message out there to the people, to the kind of clients who I would be able to best serve. And the same thing can happen with you. You don't have to be as active on social media, although if you're active on social media, it really helps. But just the kind of work you're doing, the kind of people you're interacting with, the kind of knowledge that you're sharing out there will actually help you build your value proposition. Okay, so there's a slide that calls for value proposition role play, but we're going to skip that considering the small amount of group we have. Any more ahas or any ahas that you thought of earlier, but you were too shy to share?
I think you emphasized this, and one thing I know that I want to work on is being able to extract more data, leverage, right? Especially from the market center, the team.
Yeah.
I just think that's important, and I can work on that a bit more in my conversations. Also, too, I wanted to you brought up the point of doing like a dry run with contracts with buyers, and I just wanted to underscore that how important it is. I think in this environment, things can move very fast. Maybe not December, but right now there are buyers out there. There is still a lot of competition. And they still have to make decisions very quickly. And if they're the kind of buyer that wants to read every single word, I want to give them that opportunity because it takes too long. Awesome. Right? Yep. There's so many disclosures, and it takes not just the contracts, but disclosures themselves. It just takes too long to review everything, and they don't always have to, they don't have that time if they want to get an offer in to be competitive. So so not the first session you meet with them, again, too overwhelming, but I do try to set up kind of a dry run, so that way they're more comfortable when the time comes. Because if some property comes out of left field, they're like, this is the one, we can just jam out those contracts fast. They can do a quick scan, they can be confident about it instead of just really getting stuck in the weeds. So I just think it's a very important exercise that a lot of agents don't do with their buyers, sellers as well, but not as much as I think it's important for buyers.
Absolutely. So folks, if the listing agent has an open house on Saturday and Sunday, and the offer deadline is Monday at 10 a.m., that is Monday morning is not the time to go over the different fields on the contract forms on the RPA. You want to make sure your clients are comfortable with the RPA. They kind of know what's going in there beforehand. So a lot of good points. Thank you, Michaela. A lot of ahas. I think she's the only one in person in class, so there's too much pressure on her. So, but you are living up to expectations. You're thriving. Thank you so much.
Some things that I'm doing, I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy doing this, right?
Yep. Anything else anyone else would like to share? I don't know why I'm wearing glasses. I'm right in front of the screen. Anyways, so once again, another way to think of ahas is, how has your thinking changed today? What ideas or mindsets were new? What do you feel differently about? What was meaningful to you today? How will your behaviors be different going forward? What actions you will take? And what tools, models, or systems will you use? How will they make you accountable? I think you pretty much touched on all of these at different points with your ahas. I'm talking to Michaela. I mean, she brought about a lot, or she re-emphasized on a lot of good points here. And again, anything else anybody would like to share, or anything I may not have covered, but you guys are using that helps you bring more to your value proposition to share with your clients? Like I'm assuming everybody's doing quite a few consultations. Anything else that you covered that we may not have touched upon in these slides or the examples that I shared with you guys? Come on, sharing is caring. We learn and grow together.
So I think as a new agent, we don't have a lot of client or experience yet. So I was thinking like the more you talk to people or like you do real estate activity, the more you gain more experience about that to be confident to define your value. Because for now I kind of like don't know what value I could bring to the client if I don't do more real estate activity. I may go to doing more like home inspection with people to learn more about the house, something like that. Like you need to get out there and do some work to get more experience. Yeah.
Absolutely. So good point, Sarah. For new realtors, it's pretty challenging because you don't get to do a lot of consultations, at least to begin with. I'll go back and say leverage your market center for that. Have role plays with other new realtors. Try to have role plays with experienced realtors. Seek help from your mentor. Seek help from your coach. Just download disclosures for homes and start reading them. If you don't understand anything, ask your coach, ask your managing broker. They're always there to help you. Ask anything and everything. We learn from all experiences. I've dealt with quite a lot of listing agents in the last 1 year or so. And I don't know, I was talking to somebody in an office a few months back, and they were just talking to me, how has been your experience so far? And I said, I learned from all the listing agents. The good listing agents I learned from the good listing agents, I learned what to do. From the bad listing agent, or from the not so good listing agents, I learned what not to do. So I learned from all of them. So this is a field which is where we have to constantly learn. Even people who have been in the business 25, 30, 40 years, they can't say they know. They cannot confidently say they know it all, because this field is so vast. There's so much to do. There's so many different requirements for buyers and sellers. There's so many different kind of properties. Nobody knows it all. We have our specializations in 2 or 3 fields, but then the more we know, the more clients we can help. Your success system, as we cover at the end of every class: 10 conversations every day, 10 contacts added to your database, 10 handwritten notes. These could be notes for gratification, thank you notes, staying in touch with your old clients, talking to people, or reaching out, wishing happy birthday, happy anniversary, etc., to the people in your sphere and stuff. 10, 5, 1 social media engagement. As you know, social media is very, very important. For me, it's the best way of reaching out to people. I'm not a door knocker. I'm not a cold caller. This is the only way. This is a way I do the soft touch to the people in my sphere, and I try to do it regularly. And I get the value. I get the value out of it. So that encourages me to do more and more. I've also started doing some LinkedIn. And LinkedIn works. If you think LinkedIn doesn't work, LinkedIn works. I was staying away from LinkedIn because I was still working as a software engineer. But now it's like, I can't really grow till I limit myself. I don't want to be a secret agent and stuff like that. So I started posting on LinkedIn. And guys, trust me, LinkedIn is where all the money is. I got 3 investor leads from LinkedIn already. They're not the people who are looking for their primary home, but they're people who want to invest. There are a lot of people in the Bay Area who want to invest, but they just don't have the time to research. But if you could be a person who they know beforehand, and you present yourself somebody who can do the research and bring them the right kind of deals that would work for them. There are a lot of people here in the Bay Area who would not mind investing in like $500,000 to $1 million properties for investment. I think, okay,
Mm.
while doing all that
Deepak,
prospecting,
Deepak,
go
I
ahead.
have a question. I have a question about your linking. Is that the people you know before or just online?
There's little people already in my sphere, but why it's
Oh,
important?
okay.
It's because when I look at my LinkedIn, almost half of them are not on my social media. They're not on my Facebook or Instagram. And even the ones who are connected on Facebook or Instagram, they don't check it, but they check LinkedIn. Like my
Okay.
wife, she's hardly on social media, but she's a recruiter. So she's on LinkedIn all the time, all the time. So, and she tells me the importance of LinkedIn. There's also a couple of other sites that she wants me to sign up for. I was like, this is good for now. Let me create processes with what I have right now. Then I'll slowly move to other platforms. But yeah, don't discount any of these platforms. This is where you have legit contacts.
Okay.
And while prospecting, we want to make sure we look up the do not call list, and we are aware of the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, so we're not violating those laws.
Okay. Thank you.
Once again, I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in relationship with me. I think I've seen this slide in the previous presentations this week as well. I very much believe in it. I think if you go and help people, help comes your way when you need it as well. So if you engage in every conversation in the spirit of contribution, people are happy to be in relationship with you. And you might see experienced realtors talking about this. Like, don't just say on your social media post, who do you know who wants to buy and sell, right? Don't just post that. Post something that they get value out of. Post a recent market update. Post some like a near future projection that some market expert has shared. Give your opinions on that. Bring real data. Try to bring those data points together and help them come to some conclusion. Help them make an educated guess how the market would be in the future. You don't have to ask for anything. If they see you doing that, if they see you making some genuine posts and sharing your inputs on the market, they will definitely see you as a market expert. And guess what? When it's time to do a deal, they will ping you. Like, I have people who probably on my social media for the last 15 years, but they never talk to me. They have been pinging me about buying or selling or investing. Most of them have not really had a consultation with me, but I know they will at some point. Or even if not, I'm just staying in touch with them. And staying in touch with people helps. I mean, they will do some transaction at some point in future. So if they have been talking to me, I can share more information with them. And so that's, again, building a trust relationship there. Okay, role play, I've already talked about. We won't be probably doing it this class. We're already at about an hour and a half, which is the ideal length for this class suggested. So, but do role plays, especially if you are very new, just like I was just talking to Sarah. If you're not having a lot of consultations, do role play. There is a lot of importance in doing these role plays. You're not just reading out of a script, you're actually talking to a real person. And all of us have different thought process. So the ideas bounce off, and then people might ask you questions that you're not prepared for. It's better to answer those questions when doing the role plays than when you're dealing with real clients. I think a couple of months back, I initiated this accountability group in Keller Williamson and Clara Valley office. We have about 5 agents. We meet every Monday morning, and we mostly do role play, and we talk about the challenges that we faced last week, how we could overcome, how we could share, how we could learn from each other's experiences. If you guys want to join that group, I think we can still accommodate a couple more agents. Reach out to me after the end of this presentation. Or you can also start an accountability group in your own market center. And then role plays go a long way. Prepare your conversation list. Every day, they say 10 minutes, just kind of what you're going to do, who are all the people you're going to talk to, and then go for it. Lead generation, conversations, 45 minutes. So 45 minutes to an hour you set aside, and all you're doing is real lead generation conversations. We talk about lead gen in real estate all the time, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. But once you do that, do those conversations, you'll probably forget all that you talked about the previous to those 10 people the next day. So follow up, update the contacts, put tags, put notes in there. Like people talk about their kids, people talk about their pets, people talk about their work situation. Do you think somebody got laid off and they might move out? Do you think somebody has an additional family member coming in, so they might be upside? All those conversations, all those notes are important, guys. So note them down so you can use it to your benefit to seek out a client in future. And then celebrate success. Because as I told you, I started as an investor a few years back. So I read quite a few books on investment. In that, one of the authors said, you hustle. So most people are not willing to put in the hustle. But if you hustle, you can actually find deals where deals don't exist. So you hustle, but remember to also take care of the hustler. So it's very important to celebrate little successes, little milestones, big achievements, and just take care of yourself on an everyday basis. So you can come back the next day with a fresh mind and fresh ideas, and you can keep going efficiently for a long term. Remember, we are not here for a sprint, but we are here for a marathon, right? So celebrating success makes you feel better, gives you a break, and just refreshes you overall. Again, this is the daily success system that we already talked about, and use command and connect to get help. We have our market center administrators. We have our agent services director. We have Raymond Hernandez in Keller Williams Santa Clara Valley office. I don't know who is in. I know the folks here in Cupertino, but I don't know who does what. So I'm sure you guys have agent services director here. We have our command tech expert, Brian Lee, in Santa Clara Valley office. I'm sure there is one here. So reach out to those people. You can get all kinds of help. You can get all kinds of help with them, with the services, with the framework, with the tech, and utilize it to your advantage to get more and more business. And that's it for today. Any questions or anything anybody would like to share?
Thank you.
No worries. If nobody has anything to share, thank you so much for joining me. It feels nice to conduct this class. Last year, I didn't officially join until 1st of April, but I was given the opportunity to attend Ignite, and I found it really informative. And I think that time we had realtors coming from all over, like not just Bay Area, but also Central Valley. And I buy investment properties there. So I found so much value in this 4 weeks of Ignite. I really, really appreciated what all the agents from several different offices had to share. And I feel fortunate to be given a chance to present today. So my pleasure. I hope you got something out of it. Keep working on your lead gen, and all the best to you guys.
Thank you, Deepak. Did a great job today.
Thank you. I hope it wasn't too boring.
No, you're good.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah. Bye. Have a
I'll
good
see you
day.
later.
Yeah.
You too. Bye-bye.
Now I get to ask you your name because I didn't catch it in the beginning.
I did not share my contact. I should.